There is a moment that almost no one remembers, but it changed the shape of work in America permanently. In 1984, the most common job in nearly every single state in the United States was secretary. Not software developer, not nurse, not truck driver, secretary. 18 million people went to work every morning, to type, to file, to organize, to administer. It was so dominant, so embedded in how offices functioned, that most people assumed it would always be there. It is not there anymore. Between 1984 and 2015, according to research by Deloitte, secretarial and keyboard-related occupations fell by more than 50%. Not 50% in one company, 50% across the entire economy. The jobs did not move somewhere else. They did not get outsourced. The tasks those people performed were absorbed by technology, and the world kept moving. Today, most people believe artificial intelligence is coming for factory workers, for warehouse staff, for the jobs with physical repetition that robots can take over. The assumption is that white-collar work, desk work, thinking work, is somehow different, somehow safer. That assumption is the thing that needs to be looked at more carefully, because the pattern that took 50% of secretarial jobs is back. And this time, it is not aiming at the filing cabinet. It is aiming at the analyst, the coordinator, the junior lawyer, the entry-level accountant, the people who believed a university degree was a shield. This is what task displacement looks like when it arrives quietly. In February of 2024, a Swedish financial technology company called Klarna made an announcement that most people processed as a text story. The company said its artificial intelligence assistant had handled 2.3 million customer service conversations in its first month, the equivalent workload of 700 full-time employees. Done in 30 days. Done in 35 languages. The headlines called it impressive, a few called it alarming, and then the news cycle moved on. What the headlines missed was not the number, it was the structure underneath the number. Klarna was not a factory, Klarna was an office. Those 700 equivalent roles were not operating machines on an assembly line. They were reading, reasoning, communicating, resolving. They were doing the kind of work that, until very recently, everyone agreed required a human being. This is task displacement. Not the elimination of a job title, the elimination of the tasks that filled that job title. And when the tasks go, the role follows. According to a McKinsey survey published in 2025, 51% of organizations reported that generative artificial intelligence was already reducing their need for entry-level roles, not planning to reduce. Already reducing. Harvard Business School research tracking job postings from 2019 through to early 2025 found something that tells both sides of the story at once. Postings for jobs involving routine, structured tasks fell by 13% after the public release of ChatGPT. Postings for jobs requiring analytical and creative work rose by 20%. The first number is the displacement. The second number is where the work is going. The jobs are not all disappearing. The tasks inside the jobs are being redistributed, and the people who do not understand which of their tasks are moving are the ones who will not see it coming. The thing about task displacement is that it has happened before, and the last time it happened on this scale, most people did not recognize it until it was already done. In 1978, a Canadian National Railway office in Toronto removed all of its typewriters and all of its secretaries. A Canadian Broadcasting Corporation news crew came to film it. The managers showed the journalists their new word processing terminals and explained with genuine enthusiasm that typing had become word processing and that specialists now operated these machines instead of traditional secretaries. What nobody said on camera was that the number of people required to do the same amount of work had just fallen sharply. The transition was not announced as a mass job elimination. It was announced as a modernization, The language was about efficiency, about upgrading, about the exciting possibilities of the new machines. By 1992, the process was well underway across the entire economy. By 2015, more than half of those roles were gone. The displacement took 3 decades. Not 3 months, not 3 years. 3 decades of gradual, steady, task-by-task erosion. The difference between then and now is what a Massachusetts Institute of Technology research paper published in April 2026 called the rising tide problem. The researchers tested more than 11,500 real-world work tasks across more than 40 artificial intelligence models. They found that artificial intelligence is not improving in sudden, dramatic leaps that wipe out specific jobs overnight. It is improving broadly and continuously across almost all text-based work, simultaneously, like a tide coming in across the entire beach at once. In the second quarter of 2024, artificial intelligence could complete tasks that humans take 3 to 4 hours to do, at roughly a 50% success rate. By the third quarter of 2025, that was 65%. The researchers project 80 to 95% of text-based tasks will be within reach by 2029. Task displacement in the 1980s moved slowly enough that people could adapt without fully noticing. The question is whether the same is true this time. The numbers that matter are not the dramatic ones. The dramatic numbers, the predictions about half of all jobs disappearing within 5 years, are the ones that get shared and debated and eventually tuned out. The numbers that matter are the quiet ones in the payroll data. Research by economists at Harvard, using a dataset covering nearly all United States job postings from 2019 to 2025, found a specific and consistent pattern. Roles involving structured and repetitive tasks, the kind of work that involves following a process and producing a predictable output, are declining in demand. Roles requiring judgment, ambiguity, and original synthesis are increasing in demand. The payroll data from the research firm ADP, cited by economists Eric Brynjolfsson and his colleagues, shows something more granular. Early career workers in fields with high artificial intelligence exposure saw a 16% relative decline in employment compared to more experienced workers in the same fields. The jobs at the bottom of the skill ladder within each profession, the ones new graduates are supposed to use to build experience, those are the ones absorbing the first wave of task displacement. PwC's 2025 Global Artificial Intelligence Jobs Barometer adds the financial dimension. Workers who demonstrate strong artificial intelligence skills now earn 56% more than peers in the same roles without those skills. This is not just in technology companies, it is across industries. The premium is real, and it is already being paid. And then there is the Klarna story, which did not end the way the headlines suggested. By early 2025, the company's customer satisfaction scores had fallen on complex interactions. The artificial intelligence handled volume efficiently, but it did not handle nuance well. By early 2026, Klarna was quietly bringing human customer service staff back. The chief executive said publicly that focusing too much on cost had led to lower quality and that the company had underestimated what human interaction was actually providing. Task displacement is not a clean sweep. It is a redistribution. The tasks that require processing, categorizing, and producing standardized outputs are moving toward machines. The tasks that require reading a frustrated person and knowing what they actually need are not. Here is the dimension that almost nobody is discussing. The companies doing this are not telling you they are doing it. Official figures show approximately 55,000 job losses explicitly attributed to artificial intelligence by employers in the United States in 2025. But modeling based on occupational data and corporate restructuring announcements puts the real number closer to 200,000 to 300,000. The gap exists because companies almost never list artificial intelligence as the official reason for a layoff. They use language about restructuring, about realigning for the future, about strategic workforce adjustments. This matters for two reasons. The first is that the speed of task displacement is faster than the public data suggests. The second is that it means the people experiencing this displacement often do not have an accurate diagnosis of what is happening to them. They lose a role, or they watch a junior position go unfilled, or they see their team restructured, and the official explanation is something other than what is actually driving it. The other thing being missed is where the work is actually going, not into unemployment, into a smaller number of people who are doing more. The companies reporting the highest productivity gains from artificial intelligence are not the ones that laid off the most people. They are the ones that gave their existing people better tools and watched output increase. According to PwC research, productivity growth has nearly quadrupled in industries most exposed to artificial intelligence since 2022. The work did not disappear, it concentrated. The secretary did not lose her job to a machine. She lost her tasks to a machine, one at a time, across 3 decades, until the role that remained no longer needed a name. The signal that the people paying attention have already read is in the job postings, not the headlines about layoffs, the actual text of what employers are asking for in 2025 compared to 2022. Demand for workers who can operate alongside artificial intelligence tools, who can evaluate outputs, catch errors, add context, and make judgments that the tools cannot make, is rising faster than almost any other category in the labor market. The Harvard Business School research puts the increase at 20% since the release of ChatGPT. The Bureau of Labor Statistics projects certain artificial intelligence-adjacent roles growing at 23% over the next decade, which is described as much faster than average. The people who are positioning themselves correctly are not the ones who are most worried about artificial intelligence. They are the ones who are most curious about what it cannot do. They are learning where the tool fails, where the output needs a human eye, where judgment, trust, and human interaction remain irreplaceable. Because that is where the work is moving. The 56% wage premium is not a coincidence. It is the market pricing, the scarcity of people who understand both sides of the line. If you want to keep seeing the patterns before they become the headlines, this is where that happens. Every week, before the mainstream catches up. Future layers exist to show you the next layer, while it is still the next layer. In 1984, 18 million people in the United States went to work every morning as secretaries. The word processors came. Then the personal computers. Then the software that made the personal computers do what the secretaries had done. And the world kept moving. The people who navigated that transition were not the ones who saw it coming years in advance. They were the ones who paid attention to which of their tasks were changing and moved toward the ones that were not. Task displacement is not new. The typewriter disappeared. The filing cabinet disappeared. The switchboard operator disappeared. And in every case, new work emerged around the edges of what the machines could not do. The question worth sitting with is a simple one. Which of the tasks in your working day would a machine do at 65% quality right now? And which ones would fall apart without a human being in the room? The next layer was always there. Now you can see it.